Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live this morning, ready to talk about our way too early top 10 in college football for 2025. I got my man Zen Master Zay here this morning with us. How you feeling this morning, Zen Master?
Man, I'm all the way under the weather, man. But I'm still gonna thug it out. We're gonna get this stream together. You know what I mean? You can hear it all in my voice. I know you can hear it.
I can hear it all up in your nose, bro. It's all up in your nose.
Thanks.
Well, I appreciate you joining us this morning, man, so we can do this way too early top 10. And I'm almost certain that ours are going to be pretty similar. But what's your thoughts on? I'm quite sure you probably looked at it all the way up to probably 20, how 7 through 20 could probably be interchangeable. They could be placed here and there. Probably your top five is probably pretty solid. How difficult was this for you to get top 10, bro?
Bro, it was real difficult for real because really when I was looking at it, 6 through 25, bro, you can argue any one of them teams could be up there, you know. That just show you though, next year college football gonna be even crazier. Because when I looked at all the teams, even like a few of the teams that like if I went through and did a top 25, even the teams that was on the cusp of being right there in the top 25, it was like, man, all these teams you could make an argument for all these teams for real.
Yeah, it was the same with me, man. I'm looking at it like, dude, this could be crazy. There's so much parity. There's so much parity between really one all the well, I ain't gonna say one, six all the way up to 25, like you said, man. And the way the schedules are, it could be any combination of teams that might make this college football playoffs at the end of the season. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about who we got. And I don't know if you're able to type in who your 10 is, who's your number 10 is, but I'm going to type in mine here. But if you are able to do that, please do so. You can tell me and I can put it in there.
You want me to write it in the chat?
Yeah, yeah, put it in the chat. That would be great.
All right.
And those of you who are watching, also, if you got a top 10 that you think will be the top 10 college football teams at the beginning of the season next year, put those in the chat for us so we'll know what your thoughts are as well. But for me, my number 10 is going to be Miami. So I'm going to put Miami in there as my number 10.
Yeah, my number 10, I went with Illinois. Oh, oh yeah. I'm gonna just tell you mine's because I wrote it in our chat. I don't think it's gonna pop up like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your 10?
Um, you want all of them?
No, just give me 10 right now.
Illinois.
Illinois. Why did you pick Illinois at 10?
Man, they got a lot. They got a lot returning, but like like when I really went through all these teams, I would look at transfer portals. They got some guys. They got a cornerback from Texas, Terrence Brooks, that's coming in, who's an ESPN 300 guy. That's gonna fill one of them holes that that they had on that cornerback position. But outside of that, for real, they returning a lot of guys, and the schedule that they have. It just add up. It's just like Indiana last year. People was like, "Oh, they ain't this and that." Bro, they play Ohio State. They play Ohio State. I want to say at home, and they play. Hold on, where the others? Hold on, I can read you their schedule real quick. Where they play Ohio State at home, and they got Indiana on the road. But every other game on their schedule, though, they should be favored to win that game. You know what I mean? They should be
Yeah.
favored. They got Duke in non-conference, but every other game, literally, that's on that schedule, they should be favored to win. So, I mean, as far as the schedule, it's a weak schedule. And to return Luke Altmaier, your top tailback. Like it just they got so much, they got so much returning, and just to build on that momentum of that bowl game, they should be right there, bro.
Yeah, I like Illinois too, man. I had Illinois at 11 in mines, but I agree with you, man. They have a lot of guys returning. I think it's 18 returning starters, and I'm glad you mentioned Terrence Brooks from Texas because he was starting for us, bro. I was like, dude, what? Why you transferring out to go to Illinois when you starting for Texas?
Right.
But you know, I guess he had other plans. I think he felt like the guys we had coming in was probably going to push him to the side. And but he started the second half of the season for us when he was with us 2 years ago. But I thought he would have stayed. Who you got at number 9?
Number 9, I'm gonna go with Clemson.
Why'd you pick Clemson?
So we've been seeing that experience has been going a long way. Clemson is going to return Cade Klubnik. It seems like he's been around for forever, um, and I don't think the ACC is going to be tough again next year. Now, when you look at these schedules, though, it's rough. Like they got a rough schedule next year for real. So I mean, I mean, they got Cade Klubnik, they got Antonio Williams returning, they got Brian West Coast still returning. They lost Maffa, the running back, but I don't know. It's just their schedule though is definitely going to be a problem. Like they got LSU at home, they got the home and home with LSU, but I don't got no faith in the ACC. Like who in the ACC? I mean, they play South Carolina the last game of the year again with that home and home, but them is 2 games. You know what I'm saying? But with
Yeah,
all that experience that they got returning though, like they should be favored to win a lot of them games as well. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Yeah, I picked Miami at number 10. I'm thinking that, maybe with Carson Beck coming in there. And I didn't think their offensive line was that good. So I'm hoping that Cristobal get that offensive line together. But other people think that their offensive line was good. But I thought Cam Ward was running for his life a lot. But I think they brought in a guy from Minnesota to be their defensive coordinator, who I think Minnesota's had a solid defense for the last several years. I think he's going to be able to make a difference defensively for them. So I picked Miami at 10, but I also had Michigan at number 9. I think the way Michigan ended the season last year, they got the quarterback coming in, I believe, from Fresno State. I think they're going to be able to be a real solid team. I'm basing this really off of what I've seen them do defensively against Alabama in that last game. And I know everybody's not high on bowl games, but I think towards the end of the season, Michigan played some really, really good defense. And really, they're probably the highest. Their team is probably the highest mentally because they won 2 really, really good games at the end of the season that really had them believing that they can be a lot better this year. And I'm putting Michigan at 9.
yeah, you said Miami. I had Miami right on the cusp of my top 10. So it was. I had about 6 teams that I gave honorable mentions for the top 10. Uh, but I'll reveal that later.
Okay, cool. Who'd you have at number 8?
Number 8, I'm gonna go with the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Ooh, Arizona State. Why'd you pick Arizona State?
So Arizona State, I've been a big fan of Sam Levitt, man. Um, they lost them 2 receivers, but Sam Levitt, I think he is going to be in the Heisman race. Like, yeah, I think he is that good. They got
Yeah,
Jordan Tyson.
go ahead.
They got Jordan Tyson back. But go ahead. What was you about to say?
I had Arizona State right outside of my top 10. Oh, I had them right outside of my top 10 at number 13. So, I mean, I think you're right on spot with Arizona State. They can be really good. Sam Levitt, man, he's probably top 5 in college football at the quarterback position.
Now, I kind of made this pick a little blind, though, because they haven't dropped Arizona State's full 25 schedule yet. So I don't know who they about to line up against. I don't know what the schedule is looking like and how tough it is. So this is just a way too early though, So,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
they got one game on their 25 schedule when I looked it up so far. So I don't really know who they got. So we gotta we
Okay.
gotta wait for that to drop.
All right, cool. I picked LSU at number 8. I thought that LSU, um, Nussmeier played solid, okay last year. I think he's going to be a lot better this year coming back. And I think that their defense, did I click the wrong thing? Yeah, I think I clicked the wrong thing. And I think that their defense is going to be a lot better. They'll get, what's his name? Dang it. I forgot the kid's name. He played outside linebacker for them, speed rusher off the edge. He got hurt. He tore his ACL, but he'll be back this year. I think their defense will be a lot better than what it was. So I got LSU at number 8. Who do you have at number 7?
Number 7, I had Michigan.
Michigan at
Yeah.
number 7.
So Michigan, man. So I feel like the only thing they was missing last year was a quarterback. Now they got three dudes on their roster that they seem like they're very confident about with Bryce Underwood, Jaden Davis, and then the kid from Fresno State. So they already have their system implanted. We seen in the bowl game, a lot of them dudes didn't even play that's going into the draft, and we seen exactly how stout that defense is going to be even this year. So
Yeah,
as long as they can figure out their quarterback position, and then they like I said, portal wise, they brought over Justin Haynes from Michigan. I mean from Alabama. He was the number one running back in the 24 class. So they should be all right. Well, they just got to figure out that quarterback position. That's the only thing I think they need to figure out.
yeah. I had um I had Clemson at my number 7. I think that them coming back with Clay Kubnik and Dabo Sweeney finally realizing, man, listen, the portal is here. It ain't going nowhere. You can't stay in the Stone Ages, bro. You got to get in that portal and get you some pieces. And I think they had a really good showing against Texas at the end of the season in their bowl game. I think that Clay Kubnik and that team can be really, really tough. Even though they lost Moffitt, Moffitt really didn't play that much at the end of the season because of that shoulder injury he had. So
Yeah,
I think that they're going to be solid, man. And I think they got to improve that defense of a run game. Maybe they're the one who got the Minnesota defensive coordinator. Them or Miami. One of them got the defensive coordinator from Miami. But they need to fix that thing, man, on defense. And if they do that, I think they can be really, really good this year. And they can actually be probably in the top 4, probably.
yeah.
Who's your number 6?
Before I move on, let me just speak about Michigan's schedule.
Okay.
They're at OU the second game of the season. So I mean, if we assume that this offense ain't getting figured out, um, they should be favored to win that game as well. They go at Nebraska. They play at home against Wisconsin. Then they're at USC. Then they play at home against Washington. Then they play at Michigan State. Then they play at home against Purdue. Then they're at Northwestern, at Maryland. Then they got Ohio State at the finale. So that's a very favorable schedule again.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them teams were at the bottom of the Big Ten last year. So that's it. That's just a very favorable schedule. Of course, you got the rivalry game with the Michigan State and then the Ohio State game. But that's a very favorable schedule.
Yeah, well, I definitely can agree with you on saying that they should be number 7 where you got them at. So, man, that's a really really favorable schedule because I mean Oklahoma's not Oklahoma like they used to be a few years ago.
Right.
So who you got at number 6?
I got the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Well, you got South Carolina at 6.
Man, I mean, they was the hottest team to end the regular season. They returned Lenore Sellers. They returned Dylan Stewart at DN. They returned Brian Thomas Jr. at DN. They retained a lot of them. Their line. I think they got 2 holes on their offensive line that they got to replace. But like Lenore Sellers is the reason why they really right here. Uh, we don't really know. I don't think we really know what the SEC is going to be next year. Um, I think this NIL has changed the SEC. So when you look at their schedule, you always gonna have to respect the Bamas of the world. They play Bama. You gonna have to respect the Ole Misses of the world. And another team they play is Texas A&M, was also on the cusp of my top 10 with Marcel Reed and them boys. So um, yeah, I think they also got another favorable schedule as well though. Like the Bama, they got Bama at home. They go to Ole Miss and they go to Texas A&M. If you can win 2 out of them 3 games, and then eventually it come down to that Clemson game, I think as a 3-loss team in the SEC, I think they can get into the playoffs. So um, Lenore Sellers is dynamic though, man. I think he's probably going to be the scariest player in the SEC next year. So that's why I got them so high, and we know what that defensive line can do.
Yeah, I actually had South Carolina at number 12 on my list, right behind Illinois. But I agree with you, man. That South Carolina team is tough, man. And like you said, they got a pretty favorable schedule, man. If they can win 2 out of those 3 and then pop Clemson at the end of the season, they could definitely be there for sure. I got Georgia at number 6, um, with I think they're gonna fix that defense, even though they're gonna lose a lot on that defense. I think they're gonna fix that, and I think that their quarterback, the fact that he got some legs, is gonna be able to keep them in some games. Um, they had the toughest schedule, one of the toughest schedules in college football last year, but this year is flipped because those teams that they went to last year got to come to them. So they got Texas got to go to them, Ole Miss got to go to them. I think Alabama got to go to them. So they got a chance to really make some things happen. But I'm picking Georgia at 6. But it's really going to depend on that quarterback and how he goes. But I think Kirby Smart going to have them guys ready. Who you have at number 5?
At 5, I had Georgia. So just to feedback on a little bit of what you were saying, um, they I think they did some things in the portal that they needed to do with Zachariah Branch. So that playoff game against Notre Dame, this is the way I looked at it. They didn't lose because of their quarterback. They
Yeah.
lost because they had terrible receivers. Them receivers was dropping passes all year long. I thought Gunnar Stockton, I thought he played real well in that game. So uh, the pickup of Zachariah Branch is going to be huge. And Kirby Smart is still the best coach in college football. So we got to put some respect on Kirby. Um, I think he gonna have them boys ready to play. They also picked up what's the kid's name? They picked up a receiver from Miami that I'm kind of high on. His name is Kobe Young. He a 6'5" dude. He a big target. I think that'll help as well. Um, so I think Georgia gonna be right there, man. They're gonna be right there. They just shored up the part that they needed to, which is that receivers corps. We know they got dudes on defense always. It's Georgia we talking about. So I think even though they lost Jalen Walker and the other kid to the draft, they'll be fine on defense.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, man. We wanted Zachariah Branch at Texas, but I think he had his brother as a package deal, and
Yeah.
we were willing to do that. So
Well, his
you know,
brother can go too.
yeah, his brother, yeah,
His brother probably gonna start safety for Georgia as well.
yeah, he just been injured. That's all. But when he was I think he might have been a freshman when he first got to USC. He was playing really well, but he didn't. He's been suffering injuries the last few years.
They also got a 6'6" receiver out of Texas A&M, Noah Thomas.
What, they got Noah Thomas too?
Yeah, so they shored up that receiver court, man. And I think Gunnar Stockton, his legs is gonna unlock that offense along with Zachariah Branch. I think they just got some dudes. They got dudes now.
Yeah, All they got to do is catch that ball, man. And Georgia probably would have been one of the. They would have probably been in the championship game from that side if they would have the receivers could catch.
Facts.
At my number 5, I picked Notre Dame. I really am high on Marcus Freeman and what he's building there at Notre Dame. He's doing a really fantastic job. I'm glad that they signed him because whenever Ryan Day decides he's going to leave and go to the NFL or whatever, that's going to probably be the first phone call that they make is to Marcus Freeman to come in there and be their head coach. But I know they want him to, to probably get a couple more years under his belt at Notre Dame before they make that call. And I'm quite sure Ryan Day will probably entertain the NFL in a couple of years. But I got Notre Dame. I think they lost a little bit on defense, but I think they got a scheme that they can bring some guys in to play those positions. And then I really like their quarterback when he came in. The guy he can really throw the football, and I think they're going to be tough there. So I'm going with Notre Dame at number 5.
I came in with Notre Dame right outside of my top 10. And the reason why I did it is because of the quarterback. I did like him when I seen him, and they do return Jeremiah Love, and they do return Jadarian Price, and they do return Jaden Greyhouse. But my big thing about not putting them all the way up there was their first 2 games of the season. You implementing this new quarterback that don't got a lot of reps,
Yeah.
bro. You got to go to Miami. And you got Carson Beck on the other side, who got a lot of experience already in college football, and then you got Texas A&M at home, and Marcel Reed and them boys. So I don't know if they drop their first 2 games, yeah, they could probably rip off 10 straight. But are we sure that they're going to put a 2-loss independent team into the playoffs? That was my big thing about them.
Yeah, I agree with you on them first 2 games. I was thinking if they could just split them and then run a tenner, and then they could be in there, man. But you're right. If they lose both of them, I don't see them putting a 2-loss independent team in there at all. Who did you have at number 4?
Number 4, I got the Oregon Ducks.
What made you pick Oregon at number 4?
So I think it was a big thing after seeing Evan Stewart return from the draft. I think he should have went. If he didn't have faith in Dante Moore, I think he was gone. So I think that speaks highly about Dante Moore. And then we know Oregon got money, so they gonna have players. They gonna have dudes everywhere, like just because that's one of the biggest bags in the country. So yeah, they lost Dylan Gabriel, Tez Johnson, Trayshawn Holden. They lost some guys, but as far as recruiting classes as well, they got a top 5 recruiting class every year, and that's another testament to how your team is. Like, what does the last 4 recruiting classes look like? They in the top 7, so we know they got players on their roster. I mean, it's the next man up now. This is one of them programs. It's the next man up. So that Dante Moore and Evan Stewart returning, I think it speaks a lot of volume about where they're sitting at in the quarterback room, even though they lost Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had Oregon at number 4 as well. I think that they really did really good in the recruiting cycle. They got the number 1 wide receiver in the country, DeCorian Moore, who broke my Texas Longhorns' heart because we thought for sure we had this kid. We had this kid in the bag. When he decommitted from wherever he had first committed to, we thought for sure we got DeCorian Moore. He coming. We're going to ball out. Nope. Oregon.
Facts.
So I think they're really solid there at the wide receiver position. And I think that Dale Lanning is really a really, really good coach, man. They don't have to play Ohio State. They don't have to play Michigan. The only real Big Ten test they got is Penn State. So if they can get past that one, they got somebody else.
That Indiana game is going to be tricky too.
Oh yeah, that could be.
They got Mendoza over from Cal, so I think that Curcinetti, I think he built that team just like the last year Indiana team, but with a little bit of better talent over there. Indiana was also on the cusp of my top 10. So, um, that they got them back to back. So that's a little tricky part in their schedule.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Who did you have at number 3?
At number 3, I got the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Ohio State. Your Ohio State Buckeyes or the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yeah, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Why'd you put Ohio State at 3?
Uh, it's a lot of turnover. It is. We return a lot of experience though, but we got to see what's up with this quarterback room. I trust that the quarterbacks the quarterback room will be what it's supposed to be, but early in the year, I think we're gonna go through growing pains. And like we got a we got we got a favorable schedule as well. I mean, we got Texas at home early in the year. We play Penn State at home as well, but we travel to Michigan, and we got Illinois on the road as well. But them is the 4 big games on the schedule. But we live for big games. But as far as turnover, none of these guys that we got has really started. Yeah, they got reps, but they haven't started. So I don't think it's going to be some growing pains. And it could possibly have us lose a game that we shouldn't. If these dudes was all returning starters, I'd be like, oh, this is an undefeated year. But I think we're just gonna go through something where, and then they poaching my whole coaching staff too. Like it's like my coach. We don't know if Chip Kelly going to the NFL or not. Like he keep on getting all these calls, but the good thing that we see is that Chip Kelly been on this recruiting trail, so I don't think he really gonna leave nowhere. But losing Jim knows we got to see what we're gonna do with this defense. But as far as the talent is there.
Yeah, I'm starting to think you might have been looking over my shoulder on these last 2 picks, bro, because I got Ohio State at 3 as well. And you're really known for stealing some of my stuff, man. I don't want everybody out there to hate on you about that, but you be stealing some of my stuff, bro.
Oh my god!
I got Ohio State at 3 as well for many of the same reasons why you got them there, man. Listen, Ohio State got talent on top of talent on top of talent on top of talent. They got the 2 best players in college football on each side of the ball. They got, of course, Jeremiah Smith is the best player on offense in college football, hands down. And I think that Caleb Downs is the best defensive player in college football, hands down. No matter who's out there on either side of the ball, I think these 2 players are the best in the country. My issue now is, will Ohio State have the safeties that are coming in that can help Caleb Downs play the same way he played this past year in Ohio State's defense? If they can do that, Caleb Downs is going to be a monster. And I'm saying it right now, he will be the Thorpe Award winner at the end of the season. So I got Ohio State at 3. Who's your number 2?
At number 2, I got the Texas Longhorns.
Okay. What's your thoughts on picking Texas at 2?
I mean, Quinshawn Wisner. I'm thinking that y'all gonna get C.J. Baxter back, Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons. It's just a lot of dudes returning. You know, Michael Taft. It's a lot of dudes returning. Hopefully Arch Manning can. You know, Sark don't like running his quarterbacks, but hopefully he switch it up, knowing what type of talent he got at quarterback this year. The QB run could really take y'all's offense to the next level from what it was last year. And hopefully Sark can get out his own way. But as far as just the talent, man, that's just another school, man. It's just replacing. It's the next guy up. So that first game of the year, 2 versus 3, if it dropped like kind of similar to what we saying, it's gonna be a banger, you know.
Well, now I know for a fact you've been looking over my shoulder, bro. Come on, man. Make your own stuff, man. I got Texas at number 2 as well, Zen Master. That's my team. I agree with you. We put talent on top of talent. here lately anyway. We ain't always been that way in the past 13 years, but the last 3 years we've been really, really solid. I think Texas is one of those teams that I agree with you. If Steve Sarkisian gets out of his own way and allows Arch Manning to do the things that he can do with his legs, I'm not saying do him like you did, like Mac Brown did Vince Young, but you gotta keep teams honest defensively and use him on those third and shorts to run the football or have that option to run with quarterback sneaks. I think that's going to be the key to Texas success next year and Arch Manning's success as well. Is if Steve Sarkisian allows him to play to his strengths, which is his athletic ability. So who do you got at number one?
I mean, we've been on the same wave, bro. We already know what it is. We got Penn State at number one, bro.
Penn State at number one for sure.
I'm saying Drew Aller, Katron Allen, Nick Singleton. Hey, and yeah, they took a blow with Abdul Carter and Tyler Warren. But this the thing about Penn State. They always got dudes at DN and linebacker. And they always gonna have a good tight end room. So if you lose an Abdul Carter and Tyler Warren, I don't think they're gonna have a Tyler Warren next year. But go check the recruiting classes, man. They got dudes in that room, so they probably got the best tight end room in the country. So I think they're gonna be just fine, bro. And then to hire Jim Knowles, if they can pick up his system early. It's gonna be a top 5 defense. But even though I don't know why they went and hired Jim Knowles, I thought it was dumb. Like, the defense wasn't the problem.
Right.
So they had a top 5 defense last year, so I don't really know how much that helped them. But we're gonna see this year. Can James Franklin win big games? You got the same. Anytime they play teams with the same type of talent. They never win. They got Oregon and they got Ohio State this year. So and they even play Indiana. So them is 3 tricky games. That is James Franklin gonna get the win? That's what I want to see. You want an even playing field with everybody else. Everybody know you got all these dudes on your team. You got to win these games now this year. You have to win them.
Yeah, I got Penn State at number one as well. And I agree with you. I didn't understand why they even got Jim Knowles, other than you want to take him away from Ohio State because Ohio State's defense was the best defense in the country last year. So maybe that's the only reason why they went after him, so they could get him out of Ohio State. Because otherwise, they would have the same issues that they had this year, scoring some points against Ohio State.
He was leaving regardless, bro.
Yeah, I think he was leaving regardless too. Just because of the things he was telling me at the school, man, about his relationships with some of the other people on that staff. I think he was leaving too. He just was trying to find the highest bidder.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on Penn State having a lot of their key players back, even though they are losing Abdul Carter and the tight end. The tight end that they got to replace him is a good catching tight end as well. Like you said, they got the best tight end room in the country. And I think that's going to be the difference for them in some games. Hopefully, Drew Allen will throw the ball down the field a little bit more, but he didn't really have to do it, and they still was lights out last year. So I got Penn State at number one as well. So just to do a recap, give us your top 10 again, Zen Master, recapping your top 10.
I got 10 I got Illinois at 9. I got Clemson at 8. Arizona State 7. Michigan 6. South Carolina 5. Georgia 4. Oregon 3. Ohio State 2. Texas and number 1 Penn State.
And my top 10 was Michigan. I had Miami at number 10, Michigan at number 9, LSU at number 8, Clemson at number 7, Georgia at number 6, Notre Dame at number 5, Oregon at number 4, Ohio State at number 3, Texas at number 2, and Penn State at number 1.
Yeah, just to speak about a few of the teams that was on the cusp of my top 10. I had BYU up there. I had LSU right outside of my top 10. I had Tennessee with Imani Lave right outside of my top 10. I had Miami right outside of my top 10. Notre Dame right outside of my top 10. Kansas State right outside of my top 10. And Bama right outside. All them teams right there in that whole little bunch. Man, it was like pulling like baby hairs, you know? Like they easily could have been in my top 10. It was just pulling baby hairs, man. And Florida was another team, but man, did you see Florida's schedule? I don't know how they're gonna survive that schedule that they
That
got.
schedule was brutal, bro. It's
Yeah, they
brutal.
got a brutal schedule,
They
bro.
got a yeah.
That
I
kept me
thought they
on
had the
that.
yeah. I thought they had the toughest schedule in the country last year.
Man, it don't look no better. They got LSU. They at LSU, at Miami, and then they got Texas at home, and then they got at Texas A&M, and that's all in a 4-week stretch.
Oh, they got them 4 in a row. Oh,
They got that 4 in a row. I'm like, it ain't no way I could put them guys up there, bro. It ain't no
that's
way. Even though I like the team, but a lot of the times their schedule dictates so much, man.
yeah. Especially if you start to suffer some injuries. Like if you suffer injuries in that first one, then the next 3 is gonna be brutal, bro.
Facts.
Yeah. I had Illinois, South Carolina, Arizona State, Texas A&M, and BYU as my next 5 teams.
And that's just pulling hairs, man.
Yeah. Like we were saying earlier, he went from 6 all the way to 20. You know, they're interchangeable, really, man. They're really interchangeable.
Let me ask you this though. Was you able to look and see about any non-power 5 schools?
I didn't. I hadn't taken any time to look at any of the non-Power 5 schools. Um, I mean, I wanted to look and see if Boise State had a chance to even be able to be halfway decent this year. Them, UNLV, and Tulane were the 3 that I really would have looked at if I had taken time to look at them. And I'll probably look at them at some point. But those are the 3 that I look to see if they're going to be competitive again next year.
Yeah, I think Boise State is in good hands, man. I think that they got Malachi Nelson, so uh, he was a former 5-star recruit at quarterback.
Yeah.
So I mean that might be a one up if they developed him. I know he had a tough time. Where he come from? I think he was at man, where was he at? I forget where he was. He was at a Power 5 school though.
Yeah, is that a Power 5 school? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, he was at USC. That's where he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we know Lincoln Riley. He know how to find a quarterback if he don't know how to do nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. Well, bro, if you ain't got nothing else to add, man, we can go ahead and wrap this up. And I won't be on the podcast tomorrow. I'll be out of town, but if y'all want to set something up, that'd be great.
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I'm about to
Mm,
go sleep for next 24 hours.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. All right, bro. Well, I appreciate you jumping on with me, man. Even though you're feeling under the weather, I appreciate it, man.
Facts. Hey, make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Shout out to Level Up Sports 10, Big Parlay Poe, and T1, man. Make sure y'all tune in with them guys as well.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.